So, good morning, everybody. Welcome back from the break. I hope you had some inspirational talk and some coffee and refreshment so that you're ready for another great session, because we have a really exciting panel here to share with you today. So what I'll do is I'll just do a quick round of introductions, and then we will have each panelist introduce themselves a little bit longer. And we will start with Irina, and she also has to leave for the airport a bit earlier. So what we'll do is we'll have her introduce, and then she'll take maybe one or two questions so we can make sure that we can have those, and then we'll go around and proceed with the rest of the presentations.
There is translation, so if you need, just use the equipment.
So, but just to say welcome first to the panel, we have Greg from ING Bank, and we have Irina, who's also here traveling from Lithuania, and we have Ivan, who will tell his journey, and then very happy to also have Irma here, Irina from Telenor. This will be a tough one, I already know it. Irina, welcome to you first, the panelists. It's really nice to have you here today. And then let's start with Irma.
So, hello everyone. And today I will tell you a little bit about our project, which turned to the NGO, to the organization. And it's my third year in the incubator. I'm about to become an alumni of Reach for Change. And our project is called Dramblys. It means an elephant. We do not have elephants living in Lithuania. It's like yesterday I was presented to the coat of arms of Sofia, and it's a lion in there. And I know that no lions living here in Bulgaria, so it's a bit in common. So Dramblys, elephant. And it was the best idea of bullying prevention at schools in 2016. And I was working there with two of my colleagues, with my small team as a project. And we had an idea that we want not to fight the bullying, because we had the prevention, different programs fighting the bullying for almost 20 years in Lithuania. And so what? We did not reach the results we wanted. And actually, the situation got worse and worse every year. It might be because the measurements got better and better. So we only got aware of real numbers of bullying we had at schools. And our idea was unique and different, that we were paying attention at different and putting the energy to the different source. We were creating different environment at schools, emotionally intelligent environment. And we mostly, after some measurements, what I would tell you later, we decided to work with, not with kids. We decided to work with teachers and parents. And I think that was the success story. The approach was to focusing on accelerating the social and emotional competencies of teachers and parents at schools, also the schools leaders, to create emotionally intelligent school culture for children. So afterwards, in the very final result, we are looking at children. What's the policy? It's an organization dedicated to improving students' well-being at schools by guiding a new generation of educators. And the resources, the different programs, different tools, support for all school society. About myself, and you know, as we are talking now about the emotional intelligence, in Lithuania we were all the time, as kids, told to be shy. So this slide took me a while to put on. I was not that, open to talk about my personality. But then talking about the social organizations and social entrepreneurships, it should be on the board. You should get out of your shyness, of your shame, and you should show yourself. And one more thing to tell you, that those big, huge organizations that we are now cooperating with, international ones, corporations, always there are people behind them. And when I will show you some logos, I would know that some people are waving at me with their personal values, with their feelings. And if you connect with those values and those feelings and those goals, then you could reach really good partnerships. And my biggest values are growth, change and sharing. That's why probably I'm sitting here today. And when I realized 7 years ago, what does that mean to me? In case of all the spheres in my life, I became really a happier person. Why? Talking about Lithuania, it's really beautiful country, and we have a small city, smaller to compare with Sofia, because last night I had an open free tour around Sofia. It was fantastic. And the guide, he is an actor, Stanislav, he asked us the first question, tell me more about you. What's your name? Where are you coming from? And I was like, again, shy. Oh my God, I came to the tour. Why should I talk about myself? And it was around 30 people. And you know, it was a group from Brazil, from United States. It was a group from Greek, from Poland. And within 2 hours, I became a family with this group. I didn't want to leave. I want to party with them. And I was so tired after 2 flights. I thought I'm tired. And then Stanislav said, I have a value of sharing. And I have a dream. I want everybody who come to Sofia fell in love with Sofia. And he reached that. Within 2 hours, I fell in love, and I'm definitely coming back. So that is how the partnership is being built, the connection from heart to heart. So we are #1 in Europe, 29 countries being measured by UNICEF. In 2016, we have the most suicides by kids, 50 kids. And if you would stand up 50 people now, it's horrible, horrible numbers. It's like 1, 2, 3, 5 rows, the first rows in this hall. We have the biggest number of bullying. And what really, really hurts me as a teacher, as I am a teacher myself, I have 2 school kids. And I got 1 letter from a kid. It was heartbreaking 5 years ago. And it was saying, do you know the title of the letter? Do you know how I feel at school? The 2nd grader. And it was, I feel cold, although everybody is wearing the t-shirts. And I feel unsafe. And I feel not understood by a teacher. And I'm so afraid I want to jump through the window. And it was my son. So that's my story. And when I think that I got bored of knocking those doors, I can get this letter and read it once again, because we have many, many kids in the country like that. And I really, really get my energy and my motivation out of the story. So the elephant you see in the logo, he is not happy, because happy elephant has his straw upwards. And this logo was drawn by my son. And he said, no, the elephant is sad, because I don't feel good at school. And this is what I got, this sad elephant in my logo. And this is what we want to change, from this to that at schools. So this is our story. So also all the other, you see, what really, really made me really sad, that teachers bully as well at schools a lot unconsciously. And that's a part of our culture. So that's what we aimed to change. And all the other indicators that could be measured as well, very much interconnected with this socially and emotionally intelligent environment at schools. What we did, the success story, we connected to the all strategic documents and to the all strategic policies of the country. We search for very specific words, for very specific aims and goals. And one of what we have in common is to raise the happiness index of the country. And every country has. Do you know what's Bulgarian happiness index? How many people, what's the percentage of happy people in the country? Because in Lithuania it's only 28. Could you imagine? And we are talking about kids. And the aim is until 2030 to make it at least 40%. And we are definitely dealing with this. And to know what is the happiness index, we need to understand what it takes, and we take the science. It says that if we would see the happiness as a bank account, it should be some inputs if you want some outcomes out of it. Some physical input. You need good health, definitely, right? You need some mental input at schools. Of course, it's a school, you come to get some knowledge, so it's for your mental as well. The emotions matter a lot. And now we have 64 emotions called emometer, mood meter, in the classes next to Mendeleev, you know, just measuring your emotions. And it's not only good ones, half of it are really, really, how we say, unpleasant, intense, and that's how we learn, teachers, to understand that all emotions matter and all of emotions are welcomed in the class. How we deal with it, that's the case. And of course the spiritual input, and this is our why, this is each of your why you are doing something, why you are here, why. So all the time asking this. This is very important document if you want as well to change the educational system, because last year we reached the systematic change. We changed the law on education, and I will show you the two main changes. This is very important document by Organization for Economic and Social Development in 2014, used by different countries. It says that for overall world social progress, we need competencies, not only cognitive, but at least 50% of social and emotional competence to be developed at schools. And that's where we started. And we started working first with our competitors. We said we have a common goal. We have to sit everybody and think of how could we reach that. And this is where the really success started. We sat at one table and we made a resolution for social emotional learning, really professional one, because a lot of professionals were there working 20 and more years in the field. And that was the basis. This is, you know, we were not that much about the behavior and actions. We were looking at the background of emotional intelligence. So what's the core emotional needs? What's the values of each person? How can we align those values to the school values or to the organizational values? Because every organization has, you know, people working with their personal values, and then again, organization has values itself. So if you would study that, do some homework before even contacting the organization, you could definitely reach a good potential. And that's only some results, some measurements that we measured. 300 teachers over 10 schools. It was like a pilot for our success. And you see that the self-worth of teachers is the lowest. And it answers a lot of questions. Why some programs, some international program doesn't work in the country. It could be the best tool, but if teacher is not feeling worth, she or he will not respect the kid. It's like an equal sign. So this is where we really start working, how to increase the self-worth of teachers in the country, how it's interconnected. We start measuring, and what's really surprised us, after 1 year, and then we again measured after half a year, again measured after 1 year, so it is constant growth in all the indicators. We measured 17 indicators in the scale, and how you can reach the change, and it constant growth, so it's really working. So the total impact of the last school year, 2017-2018, we had more than 1,500 teachers, and you can see the results. 30% of positivity at schools went up. The self-awareness, respect for others, mostly kids from the teachers, also increased. And the self-worth, it's the most difficult because it's connected to your beliefs, and it's not changing that fast, but it could. Of course, it's better to do when you are small, but nevertheless, you can do it also when you are grown up. And this is our total impact. In the same school year, we measured, it's 23,240 children reached, and you see that 23% in 1 year grew the social emotional abilities at schools and all the other indicators, and the slides will be available for you if you want in English. Through the Reach for Change Bulgaria. So this is the systems change. What did we reach? And this is what makes me very happy. In this partnership, we created so-called Social Emotional Learning Association, and we gave the suggestions. So we had this political decision-making power, and we reached that by all different NGOs, all different leaders. And I will just show that's where we started. So you see, and most of them are our as well competitors, because they are offering different tools for schools as well. But we sat together at one table and we thought, what could we do all together? So from 2017, so it's already happening, September 1st, all school-age children is like compulsory to have at least 1 week class for social emotional education from 6 to 18, so from preschool up to pre-university. And from this September 2018, all teachers have to have a possibility to develop his or her own social emotional skills. So that's, I think, was really, really like like a goal, but not to sleep there on the laurels, because we need to think of the quality, we need to think of the other growth. And just to show you this also good partnership, how can you think of the quality, how can you think of the growth, that those organizations, that's our main partners, and they are really supporting, like it's a constant support. The BCS is the leading company on social emotional programs around the world, especially for different organizations, and they give us some free trainings for our lecturers, for our professionals. So that's how we cooperate year by year. They are giving us really professional knowledge, and they are helping us to transform it for schools together with different other partners. Tele2 was the supporter. We got 20,000 when winning the Reach for Change, and still I was sitting with my colleagues and thinking, how could we involve? Because you know, what's in it for? They gave us, but they want to be connected. So we sat with the team of Tele2, and they said, what can we else do for you? How can we cooperate? Because we are really, really willing. It's important for us as well, this emotional intelligent environment in our company. And they said, we're going to support each year. We have now the Olympics for social emotional learning every year. So kids could measure how empathic they are. And teachers could learn how to reflect, how to know how empathic the class is. So it's, again, one tool. And again, Tele2 is here every year to support this event. AbbVie, the company that produces pharmaceuticals, and they said, oh, you know what? We want to support disadvantaged kids and families because of the depression rates. They produce antidepressants, but they are also thinking of prevention. The Circle K, the oil-producing company, my time is a bit. So that's the last slide. I just wanted to inspire you that it's possible. So they thought, oh, we want to take the social sector, and they are now thinking and supporting. And again, the Barclay Bank also. So that was the last slide. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions right now or a little bit later, just ask me.
Thank you, Irina, and thank you also co-moderator here. That's good. Somebody keeps track of me so that I can keep track of time. That's good. I was so engrossed in what you were saying. No, the topic of this session is also how we can co-create partnerships together with corporates, but other potential partnerships as well. And you raised some great examples there, not only of the partnerships that have helped you scale, but also cross-sector, also between competitors. So what I'd like to do is just open the floor to one maybe question first, or to you, if there's somebody who has, before we go on to the next panelist.
Mm-hmm. With first 30 teachers. And we were knocking all the doors. I didn't have any contacts, but I was like really willing as a teacher. 15 years working at the school, I really was seeing this, seeing this big. So I was just first knocking every door at the ministry, at the municipality, and it took me 5 years. So I was working with the project for 5 years before I presented it to Reach for Change. So the idea was there. So I visited myself more than 100 schools, just talking with teachers and saying and perceiving. And it was some really bad experiences when teachers were like, oh, we don't need that, it's not about education. And school leaders were like, this is feelings, how it's connected to the results. Will it, so it was really, really, and they even didn't know what it means, emotional intelligence. And now, after 7 years, that's how long we are in this, I would say that in every school, at least they know what it means. So it's a long journey, but it started from 1, 2, 3 person. It's not like from a really big scale and some big money. We did many, many tours just free for schools.
Thank you, Irma. I think that that's a great segue to our next speaker, Ivan, to talk a little bit also about another role for the social entrepreneur, which is really to educate on new topics. So thank you.
Thank you, Sofia. So I'm here wearing actually 2 hats because Single Step is the organization I established a couple of years ago, and it's a finalist in the Reach for Change program. But also recently I became the CEO of an organization called the Bulgarian Entrepreneurship Center. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later. The common denominator between these two is our focus on helping to build communities. So Single Step. I actually left Bulgaria when I was 20, and I lived outside of Bulgaria for many years. So my professional experience was in the corporate world, in investment banking and private equity. If somebody had told me 3 years ago that I'd be living in Bulgaria, being, I used to say an activist, but being a social entrepreneur, I guess, I would have told them that there's absolutely no chance. But things change, and here we are. My story is really an example of, I guess, a lightning striking me at one point and making me think about a problem that an invisible group of young people in Bulgaria face every day. And for these young people, there's pretty much 2 solutions. One of them is live their lives in hiding here or leave the country and try to look for a better life. And these are the LGBTI people, young people in Bulgaria, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex. I was living in New York at the time. I came back to Bulgaria on holidays a couple of years ago, and at an event, a young guy that I didn't know shared with me that he had tried to commit suicide because a psychiatrist had told him that she was going to cure him of his disease. And to me, this was something so personal, so powerful, that it pretty much changed my life. It made me move from New York back to Sofia and establish Single Step. I was extremely lucky to actually find some amazing people that joined the team, some amazing volunteers that work every day on providing really a lifeline to these kids in need in the country. But the goal of Single Step is really to support, motivate, and empower a group of people. We started with support. I didn't know anything about the NGO world. I was never part of that. I had no idea how it operates. So when I decided to establish the organization, I thought, hold on, you have no idea how to do this. But then I realized that it's actually a startup. I mean, it's a true startup. And that's how we clicked actually with Reach for Change, because the first problem you asked me was, what's the problem? What's your solution? That's exactly the way we approached it. There was no ideology, there was no activism in the traditional sense in the world. There's a problem, how do we solve it? So the very first solution to the problem, young LGBTI people in Bulgaria have no support, was establishing an online chat. So that chat has been operating for over a year. It is staffed by our amazing volunteers. We have a psychologist who supervises them, trains them. And we also have a network of psychologists around the country. We also started a telephone hotline, a toll-free telephone line. We've produced some, I think, pretty impactful raising awareness campaigns. So this is the portion about motivating. You cannot be a fully functioning individual if you don't believe in yourself, if you're not yourself, actually. So everything we do is positive and it's motivating. And the third step of this support, motivate, empower, is actually our future plans in establishing a community center that will be not only open to people from that community, but will really run as a social enterprise. This is to be continued. We're working on that. So that's single step. I'll briefly mention about the other piece because it's actually a great example of what a community-driven initiative can do and can achieve. The Bulgarian Entrepreneurship Center is actually a two-way bridge between the Bulgarian startup ecosystem. So these are the startups, the venture funds in Bulgaria, and Silicon Valley. There's a very actually active, powerful Bulgarian diaspora in Silicon Valley. These are successful entrepreneurs, business people. They want to give back. They want to participate. They want to invest. They want to be part of this, part of these activities that are happening in the country right now, because we kind of tend to, when we think about Bulgaria, there's a lot of negative things that we talk about. A very positive thing is the startup ecosystem in Bulgaria. So our first initiative will be establishing a physical hub in Silicon Valley that will be financed from the community to serve the community. So no government participation, no institutional participation. And this will be a bit of a social experiment to see can rivals, can competitors actually work together for the social, for greater social good, because these will be the venture funds, these will be the startups, some of them are competitors on both sides, in Bulgaria and in Silicon Valley. And hopefully it will work. I'm positive it will work. That's it, I guess, for now. More than happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. So, Irina, I'd love to turn to you now to hear a little bit about Telenor's experiences with partnerships.
Sure. I just need.
Oh, the clicker. Yeah.
Здравейте на всички. Аз избирам.
So, hello everyone. I'm here not to promote my company, and I would like to point it out from the very beginning. I'm here in order to share with you about a long-standing, very positive partnership. During the first panel, we heard that the examples of long-term partnership with regard to corporate social responsibility and social support are not that many, or at least not that many in Bulgaria. So it is my pleasure to be able to share with you, because you're experts in this area and you're people who are interested in this issue. So I would like to share with you what we managed to achieve in the last couple of years, in the last 12 years. We have partnered with the National Center for Safe Internet. This partnership has a clear goal, namely to phrase understanding of the issue.
To increase awareness in the area of safe internet among children, parents and teachers by involving all stakeholders. Also by implementing the so-called 360 degrees approach. This partnership started back in 2006 when we founded the Public Council for SafeNet, again with our long-term partner, National Center for Safe Internet. Over the next years, the focus on these activities were not so clearly cut, but since 2014, it is a top priority amongst our CSR activities. In 2014, we were the first telecommunication company which, together with the Safe Net Council and the Ministry of Interior, filter on content which can block content containing sexual abuse of children. A little bit later, we launched the Cyber Scout program, with which we are really proud. We were led by a thought of Benjamin Franklin, who said, "Tell me and I'll forget it. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I will learn." We decided that when children teach children, the impact can be huge, especially when things are taught through games. So our mission was to create a community of children, teachers, and parents who are focused on understanding risks associated with the internet, the navigation in this environment, and prevention of risk, especially how and where you can look for help if you are the victim of such of some of these risks. Impressive results much beyond the corporate targets, because the conviction that we use is impressive. Our target group are children between 11 and 13 years of age. We work in all regions of Bulgaria. Very clear outcomes. We enrich the content, we revise and revisit the problems, because, you know, with the development of the industry, the risks also develop and change all the time. And also our conviction and the efforts we need to invest must be adjusted and become more and more clear. In 2016, we developed a kind of a manual against cyberbullying. Cyberbullying becomes more and more pervasive and more creative. That's why we persuaded the experts in this area to develop this type of manual and made it accessible through a special platform, updated and upgraded periodically depending on the changes of the environment. In the very same way, we identified that parents need a kind of glossary of social media. Another campaign was Be Smart, Be Nice. Back in 2016, only volunteers, more than 260 employees of our company, went to more than 60 schools throughout the country, met the children and showed them by means of a game how to protect themselves, what they should protect from, who they should talk to, and how to transfer this knowledge to their peers. A little bit later, in 2017, talking about damage that uncareful provision of private data can lead to increased greatly, we decided that we need to shift the focus. So 2017 was dedicated to sharing personal data on the social media and what we should be careful about when we do it. And that's how we organized a very successful campaign called Finding Emo. We created a virtual character called Emil Dobromirov, or nicknamed Emo, and his profile on the internet was created based on a very typical and repetitive behavior of young people on the social media. He also had some fake profiles on the Instagram, Snapchat, and Instagram. We use this to show to the young people and children how people can get information about anyone, some private information, and how this information can be used in a malevolent way. This was a kind of tell the children how and young people that they should be careful what and how they share on the internet. Then we created a mobile app, the focus of which was if we have not protected ourselves this app provided information for how to connect and who to connect with. This is a 24/7 service. An expert can provide an immediate advice on how to handle such a situation. This app is still operating, and it is accessible through the main operational systems. Our employees were really extremely dedicated to the SafeNet campaign. We are easily recognizable telecommunication company. We are the one telecommunication company that people recognize us in investing in this, because our task is not only to make money by the provision of services of internet, but also to guarantee that the use of internet will be safe. Our children from the Internet Scouts program are also trained here to do themselves trainings to their peers. In 2017, some more initiatives targeting young people on the internet, especially the social media and the so-called online bullying. And I will now run a video clip, and this will be the end of... after that, I just have one more slide to finish.
Интернет ни е другият живот, втората реалност, в която...
internet is our other life. The second reality, we use it at home, at school, at work, before we go to sleep. But online, there are any type of people, black-haired, bearded, singers, beauticians, children as well. And although it may be wonderful online, the world online creates risks. So Telenor invited 10 people who can tell us, popular people who can tell us what are the problems online, and together we created the campaign It Depends on You. So all these nice people launched the program on the 6th of February because children looked at various rankings from funny to not so funny ones. I would like to hit her with a hammer and then cut her and eat her up. These video clips were watched by more than 130,000 people, and they all had links to it. It depends on you. A week later, it was visited by 30,000 more people. We proposed avatars, which were downloaded by 4,000 people. It was supported by hundreds of Bulgarian media. It showed that people on the internet are different, but it depends on you, on how you approach them. Yes, it's true that when vloggers, musicians, popular actors speak, young people hear better, much better than when parents and teachers talk to them. So this is the right approach, I think. In conclusion, I would like to tell you something that we did this year and we are very proud of. In the beginning of this year, we take advantage of the Safe Internet Day on the 6th of February and the Bulgarian presidency of the Council of the EU. We organized a special program. During the concluding event, there were the first for Bulgaria days for media and online literacy. The forum targeted mainly the parents, and together with some online platforms like MyComio and social media and the Safe Internet Council, we invited people from various stakeholders, from the parents' associations, from the Ministry of Interior, vloggers, and many other interesting speakers. Our goal was to cover the overall range of online communication, including risks, but also opportunities. So we plan to continue working and talking and addressing this topic, because it is not only going to become more and more important, but also the results will hopefully become better. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Irina. ING experience, and also think while we're doing the clicker, we can also give another round of applause for Irina and thank her.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Greg, and I'm the country manager of ING Bank in Bulgaria. So by profession, I'm a banker. I've been doing banking for the last 24 years. So it's a little bit of a peculiar feeling to be sitting here in this great company and talking to you about social entrepreneurship. It was even more peculiar when I came to Bulgaria earlier this year in January to assume the post. And my mission, I was told, was to develop business here. So I'm used to talk and about interest rates and economic trends and business trends and talk to clients, and this is what I was supposed to be doing here. But as soon as I arrived, I realized that the task is much broader, and one of the things I am supposed to be responsible for is to lead the way for the bank to become more involved in development of the social entrepreneurship. So I have to tell you that at the beginning I was quite scared because I knew nothing about it, and I thought, okay, how am I supposed to do that? Where do I start? And yeah, what helped me greatly is my team, a team of passionate people who were doing that before and who had some experience. But also when I met some of the social entrepreneurs, when I met Reach for Change, I saw even more passionate people. So I got energized by that. And as I said, I came in January, and we have this tradition that we set targets for the year in January. And among those targets, there are so-called stretched ambitions. So I reflected for a while what it would be for myself, and I thought, hey, since I know nothing about social entrepreneurship, let's make it this. So I taught myself, you have to learn it, you have to get involved, you have to kind of show to others that it's important, and to give inspiration to them, to activate them. It was beginning, it still is, but let me tell you, it's very energizing, and it gives you this sweet feeling and good emotion when you are able to help, and you are able to create a platform for others who want to help, but they need this platform and they need someone to arrange it for them. So Irma, she was telling a lot about emotions. I think it's important equally for children, but also for adults. Let me tell you that it's in my daily job, if it's only numbers and meeting clients, it's okay. But if it's something more, meeting passionate people and finding ways to help, that makes it complete. So let me share with you the ways ING in Bulgaria tries to put some involvement and make some impact on social entrepreneurship. We've established a so-called Social Innovation Fund. ING origins from the Netherlands. In Netherlands, the tradition of helping and the development of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem is it's like very well developed. It's way ahead of the countries from this region. By the way, I come from Poland, and in Poland, yeah, we have a lot of way to catch up to the standards that are set by Scandinavian countries and those in Western Europe. And at ING, we think that if we have something good to share and some positive lessons learned to transplant elsewhere, we should do that. Also, if I think of the employees of the bank, the mindset that we see there, let's take Netherlands as an example, it's very well developed. People are really considering this an important part of their life, to be engaged, to take initiative, to help, to be present where they feel they need to lend a hand to those that need it. So we thought that in Bulgaria we should do the same. However, it was not a top-down exercise. We were not told by our head office, hey, you have to set up something in Bulgaria. It was quite the opposite. It was a bottom-up exercise that we started, I think, 4 years ago. It was my predecessor who initiated that. But he wouldn't be able to do it himself. He was supported by the team. We put aside an amount of money that we thought we would donate to social entrepreneurs. And that way, we thought that we would put our corporate mission to work. Because as you see it, it's empowering people to stay a step ahead in life and in business. Business for a bank, that's understood. Yeah, it's lending money to businesses for them to grow. It's making sure that they invest their money in a proper way. It's all sorts of banking services that you offer to them. But to make a link to life, that's something more abstract. And of course, what we do, we achieve that in a couple of different ways. We have three main objectives to use the Social Innovation Fund. First, of course, we try to help the social entrepreneurs who need the support. And we do that in two ways. Financially, we donate money to them, which they can use for their purpose, but also we engage our own people. Because we have a mentorship program, it's volunteer-based program from the employees who basically, when they have a list of initiatives that we are willing to support, they raise their hand and they say, I want to be the mentor for this initiative and I want to help. And they can help in many ways. They can help with their skills, with their legal skills, with their financial skills, by way of helping the entrepreneurs to, for example, build a business model or to build a business case that is convincing and that can be used when the entrepreneurs meet other sponsors. And we realized that it's much more important and it works in a much better way than by way of just giving money. So we thought that we would not want to be a charity just to give money to those in need, but we would first of all try to help the social entrepreneurs with a view for them at a certain point in time to become sustainable, so that they would no longer need a money that is donated to them, but they would develop in a way to become independent. It takes time, so we are there to support them in the startup period. But we also support them through our mentors, because often it's not the money that they need, that too, of course, but they need all sorts of other skills and experience. They sometimes tend to be very passionate people who have a great cause and great ideas, but they don't know where to start, how to turn it into a business. So the mentorship program and the help of our people is really highly valued by them, sometimes even higher than the money itself. But we thought it's just a good combination, a little bit of money, but a little bit of time and experience and skills of our people. The second objective is to activate the team and to make the team agents of change. Because, yeah, we are privileged. We have a good job, we get our monthly pay, we have a proper education, but not everybody is equally lucky as we are. So to bring this change of mindset, the idea of sharing, the idea of trying to look outside of where you sit and see what other people need and to share with them. I think that's very important, and it has proven to be important for the people. At least that's my experience, and that's my experience of talking to my colleagues, that they'd rather do that than just donate money to a charity, with this money to be spent for a cause that they don't really understand because they are not involved. So even though it takes a lot of their effort, their time, they prefer doing that rather than just offering money. I think that's great because it involves people. It also creates a bond between different team members because they are no longer only linked by their job, but they're linked by something bigger, something more important. And that creates also a better working platform in our company. Thirdly, the third objective is to promote the social entrepreneurship ecosystem as such, because we feel that in Bulgaria, even though there are a lot of startups, it is still early days and support is needed for the entrepreneurships, but also for institutions such as Reach for Change, who do a great job creating a platform and linking different kind of actors on the scene. So we think that it's part of our mission to also facilitate that. What is also important, we are a very small organization in Bulgaria. We're a big bank globally, but in Bulgaria it's only 70 people in one building in 2 floors. So we wouldn't be able to do the admin and the organizational part without the help of Reach for Change. So it's important to partner with the right people who have the experience, the network, and the passion to share their insight and to help businesses such as ours to make it work. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. Yeah, let me just show you a few examples of things where ING is engaging. Basically, our focus is to help underprivileged, and it's a broad definition. It can be economically underprivileged, educationally underprivileged, also people with health disabilities. So we have had a list and some pictures of the initiatives that we support. I'm sure you know many of them. I saw some of the people in the audience who represent some of them. So it can be educational, it can be health related. Yeah, it's a large variety. The way we select, that's also important because we run it very democratically. For the pre-selection, we use the help of Reach for Change. They approach us with some ideas, but then we make it transparent to the team, and the team selects. They vote. They basically vote for those that they like most. And usually we select 3 in a year, and then it goes to a kind of board of the Social Innovation Fund, and we have a discussion in the board whether we are able to select all 3, or maybe in a given year 1 or 2, and we then discuss how much money we would donate. And then once we do that, or basically in parallel, we reach out to our team to see if there is interest from them to become mentors. And let me tell you, this interest from the team is growing. I've been here only 1 year, but I see that this year compared to the last year, it's really great development in terms of how active the team becomes. So yeah, that makes me very pleased. Yeah, some of the examples. These are the 3 initiatives that we selected just recently. The vote took place a month ago, so these are the 3 initiatives that we will support later this year and next year. And it's quite interesting that at the very beginning, 4 years ago, we had to encourage people to become mentors. This year, we had 3 initiatives and we had 6 candidates for mentors. So we had to pair them up so that there are 2 per initiative. So that shows how active they become and how much they like it to be part of what we do. So Social Innovation Fund is the kind of core of what we do to help, but we have also some other initiatives where the team is becoming involved. And for some of them, I see like 20 or 25 people in a group of 70 altogether. That's really a large percentage. So it's great to see that people are really involved and they see that it matters to not only like dress like this and do numbers and meet clients and make money, but it takes more than that. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Greg. So I think it's quite interesting now. This panel heard from 2 outstanding social entrepreneurs, and we've also heard from Telenor and ING. So we've had 3 sectors represented this morning, media and television, banking, and mobile services, all sectors that really have the possibility also to affect change. And when I was listening to all of you, I thought the most interesting thing is that the common language that was used. You all talked about connectivity and connecting through values and building communities and building platforms and harnessing passion. So I think in a partnership, that's one of the first lessons. If we're speaking the same language, it's easier to connect. So what I'd like to do now is open up the floor to any questions to our panelists. Are we all very shy now? Great.
Sorry, but I couldn't resist. Yeah,
I was really impressed. I was impressed by Telenor's example about such a long-standing partnership. So I would like to ask a question from the previous session. What is the recipe so that you can work with a partner for more than 5-10 years? Because I can see that this partnership also has to do with your business. And I was really impressed that this partnership has been continually evolving. So in order to have a long-standing partnership, do we have to recreate it anew all the time? Of course, this is a question for everyone. I would like to hear the opinion of everyone else. Yes, thank you very much, Yuri. Yes, we have never had a boring moment, and we have always tried to be adequate for each other and for the audience that we address. These are all the users of mobile services in Bulgaria, not the internet only. But partnership with the National Center for Safe Internet is something that is worth mentioning. And I have to mention the dedication, the devotion of the person who heads the center for many years, Mr. Georgi Apostolov. He has been very committed. Everything that he has been doing, the effort put in the projects, this unwavering devotion that it is worth doing it. And we have seen how we have grown our impact, we have grown our influence. That is why this partnership has been recognized. It was nominated. It entered a top 5 projects of a prestigious European ranking. This constant recreation is really important, as well as the people who are behind all these projects. Nothing more important than the people.
Ivan, maybe we'll turn to you now to share your recipe for maybe lessons learned for partnership.
On our side as a social entrepreneur. Well, so many lessons learned, but actually I was thinking about what would be a recommendation for businesses, how they should work with us as social entrepreneurs. Because in the previous panel, Ivailo actually mentioned something that I wanted to say. The universe doesn't owe us anything. We as social entrepreneurs are responsible for what we're doing. So businesses may open their doors, but they may not. If they have the right approach, though, I think it's up to us as social entrepreneurs to execute. But in terms of businesses, I would actually suggest that the first step is actually identifying common beliefs, common values, and identifying those values are within the business, what they support. Then thinking about helping social entrepreneurs in terms of investing, not in terms of charity. And what is associated with investing? This is not primarily a PR, HR, legal department initiative. This is CFO, this is management team initiative. So when you think about how do you make an investment decision, it's very important to think about how do you invest in a social entrepreneur in the exact same way. Returns, social returns on your investment. So if this is only left to the PR department, this doesn't have so much impact, I believe. So number one is think about supporting social entrepreneurs in terms of investing, not helping. Then as the example you gave, Greg, in terms of providing mentorship. It's a partnership, it's an investment. It's an investment in with resources, not just money. But make it known that your employees care about that cause. An example from the US, also in Europe recently, but some companies, let's say 25 out of the Fortune 50 companies in Silicon Valley, they require their employees to volunteer. And these companies pay their employees to volunteer a certain amount of certain hours a week. They also match whatever employees donate to a given cause. This is another level of engagement which is yet to be developed here. Some companies do it, but not many. So it's actually, again, if you think in terms of investing resources, money, mentorship, resources, employees donating their time, their money, which is matched later by the corporation, then it becomes a total investment, not just PR.
Thank you, Ivan. I think I'll turn to you now, Greg, because you were actually talking about this. You were talking about leading the bank into this. So, I mean, I sense from you and also that it is a lot about putting it on the leadership agenda, as Ivan is saying as well here as well, that it needs to be invested into, such as other strategic business objectives that you also invest into. Do you have some tips for other companies how to lead this change?
Yeah, the recipe, if I can think about it, it's more really focused on the people and people management. And what I also think is the right approach is to start from yourself. Never look at others to do things for you, to start to do things instead of you. If you want others to follow you, you have to try harder yourself, and to lead them with your own example. So that's one thing. And you have to really think of things that are your weaknesses and that you find difficult. But only then you demonstrate that you're really making an effort, and you can then hope that others will reflect and think about themselves whether or not they should really also try to do some things differently. So that's one thing. The other thing is we are surrounded by different people, but in every group of people there are some with initiatives, with passion. Try to spot those individuals and support them, encourage them, give them the tools, give them the platform. These are the other leaders that will work as magnets for the rest of the team, because people feel bad when they see that some individuals are really full of initiative, and it makes others feel bad that, yeah, they are not doing something similar. And that way you really motivate people and get them going. I think it's really important to kind of indirectly try to influence people's behaviors by supporting those with initiative, with passion, and also by showing your own example.
Do we have another question from the audience? Shall we start with you, maybe? Good question.
Well, I believe it's really important to sense the engagement in people. And whether an initiative would have either wider or deeper discussion, as you suggested, will depend on this engagement. So this signs of passion and potential would be the measurement. And in some cases, it may be the deeper one that will bring more benefit if we have to measure it, but because in business we measure anyway. It's not by chance that we increasingly talking these days for employer branding. It's much more on the deeper side than on the wider, I believe.
Ivan, do you have the experience of being pushed for numbers and reach? And,
well, as a social entrepreneur, you know, and also as an entrepreneur before, and having worked with a lot of startups, focus is key. So we are actually, I totally agree with you. You know, we look for depth. So do one thing right, then you expand. As opposed to some big corporations that want to put a picture in their annual report with, you know, 300 kids, one event. Great, you know, it has an impact. But if we actually, I mean, I'll come back to this proposition that if a company thinks in terms of investing, not just PR, then you find the balance between the two. But again, I guess from a social entrepreneur point of view, totally agree with you. You know, we look for impact by going deep and then expanding.
Well, in our case, it's definitely deep than wide because we are very small. It's a very small operation. We are a big bank globally, and there the impact is wide. We really have a number of partnerships in a number of countries with a very big impact. But here it needs to be small because, and it needs to be focused. And also people are more engaged if they are focusing on something quite specific, especially if the way we set it up, we expect people to volunteer to be mentors. So it needs to be really focused on a specific initiative, specific cause. And we also sometimes have a discussion in a board of the fund whether we should do, like, in a given year 2 initiatives or 3, and there's always a debate whether to do 2 with more money or 3 with less money. We try to balance that to see what sort of interest we also have from the team and to find the kind of the right balancing parameters. And it's also, if I think about it, it's deep for now, but over time I would like to make it wide as well. And this is part of the frustration that it's so small. But to make it bigger, I think the way to do it is to team up with other businesses, to show what we do and how we do it, and to attract interest from others to maybe join us, to do it jointly, to do it together, to bring it to the next level. But that will come in time, hopefully.
Ласка Ненова от
Nenova from Plovdiv, an organization. I would like to build upon the previous question. The colleague asked what is interesting for the companies, deep impact or wide impact. But how exactly do you measure the impact? Because there is a difference between reach and impact. Allow me to start with the answers. Measuring the impact to a great extent, it does not come up in numbers. In our case, it is specific because of the focus on safe internet. We have specific corporate targets to train a specific number of children for a specific year. But it's not just numbers and figures. When we talk about initiatives in the social area, I think this is something that law calls factual relationship. With factual relationships, you have everything which is intangible asset. Trust, respect, towards the company, the relations, the causes of a specific company, the involvement of the employees of a specific company, which more frequently is deep than wide, because at that level it is easier to achieve the human relationship, is in fact what measures success and offers value added to the businesses, which can be measured with P&Ls or whatever you call it. That's how we measure it. Може би сме щастливци, че сме малки, така че няма нужда толкова да измерваме в цифри, но като разговаряме с хората, имаме 7 инициативи май, разговаряме с хората, получаваме обратна информация от социалните предприемачи.
Also, in terms of the team, it's a very small team that sits in one building. So again, directly speaking to people, that's the best way to sense the value of it. But of course, as part of the objective, as I explained, we want the social entrepreneurship, the initiatives that we support, to become sustainable. So we have to also measure and check what is the stage of development, whether they are ready to stand firmly on their own feet, or whether they still have to rely on external support. So in that sense, we do measure that, and these are some difficult discussions sometimes, and it's important to define and build expectations at the very start. It's not a charity that will last for 10 years. It's more a fund that will support the social startups in the first 2-3 years to get established, and then go on their own. And to be able to determine whether this is the moment to let them go, you really have to measure that, yeah. But this is mostly the responsibility of the mentors, to keep track of the development, to really constantly talk to the entrepreneurs, and to report back to the management team to make sure that the information is properly prepared and checked, and it's a good basis for a decision.
Before we take another question, I can just also add to that I think it's important just to discuss the reason why we have measurement and why we have numbers. So it's not about the numbers per se, but it's about monitoring and tracking that your solution is effective, and that the program is actually delivering on that solution. So I think that's why it's really important, and maybe not to have this continuously to question what is this number telling us, and why are we using it. So in the Reach for Change journey, we also have had long discussions with our partners, where we have first we're looking at very wide, ambitious and broad targets, and then we said, wait a minute, that is this really telling us that we are being effective? And then we actually pushed the numbers down and said, no, I mean, it's more about really evaluating that the entrepreneurs are on track. And so it's not about wide numbers, but it's about actually the deep impact. So I think both can be done, but you have to be able to have a continuous dialogue, and to test and to reiterate that with the partners that you're working with. So do we have any other questions? Would we then like to maybe, yeah, you have them?
I'm sure it's just the people in Bulgaria are more shy.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I see that our colleague from Denmark gets another question. Може ли микрофон, само преводачите не чуват и зрителите не чуват? I will speak in English just to save some. I'm sure that the audience have more questions, so let's wait one more minute for them. And if not, we will invite the Denmark again. Yeah. Okay.
For vegan confectionery that support social campaign and initiative. And my question is, when does one social investment can be successful? What is to be successful social investment? Thanks.
Shall I answer idealistically? I believe that if one person, one child, or one adult is helped, this means that it wasn't in vain. So every time you do effort in this respect, it can be unsuccessful. This is what I believe.
Yes, it is a very broad question. So I guess if you, as a social entrepreneur, if you have a predetermined KPIs, so I would like to reach that many kids, I would like to do this, I would like to do that. And if you achieve that, then you're successful. But sometimes the issues that we deal with are not very easily measured. So in our case, how do we know that we're successful in changing the stigma surrounding the LGBT issue? There may be some indicators, but we can meet in conferences, we can discuss, we're amongst friends. We're not the problem, we're the bubble. How do we know that we reached out of the bubble? That's tough to do. So there is an easy answer to this. Yes, you meet your KPIs, you're successful. How do you change society? Very different question.
Yeah, I think many of the initiatives that social entrepreneurs undertake, but by definition, these are non-ending battles. They will continue forever. So if you do good and if you help, even a small number of people, and if you make other people reflect, and if you get attention, positive attention from others, you energize others to do things, that's successful. But it will never stop. It's non-ending. I think that's important to realize.
Very good points. Any other questions?
Здравейте.
To details, is it enough to have a general idea, or it should be developed in detail by timing, resources, and so on and so forth, in order to attract your interest for support? Very specific question and a very specific answer. It is not sufficient to have just a general idea. Our experience, at least, is that we expect from potential partners to have written their homework well. Not only because this will make things easy for us, because we need to distinguish very well between the different responsibilities. So developing a project and what we want to achieve, what the timing will be. The time lies how we're going to select it, why we consider it important for the society, what are the stakeholders, where the difficulties will be, where we would need the support of third parties. Yes, this is detail, and we expect from the potential partners to have considered this beforehand and be able to present it in a way that will gain the trust of the other side. But naturally, business being a business will help with other types of resources, funding, experience, etc.
My side. Yeah, we understand that many of the social entrepreneurs, they are not business people. So we would not torture you with a full kind of set of financial projections and models. That's not what we are looking for. We're looking for an idea that is based on a good cause. But we're also looking for a kind of logical sequence, how to make it sustainable. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but it needs to make sense and be convincing. Usually what we do, we have a template, a short template to be filled in with information about what it is that you're trying to do. And then what we follow up with is a meeting, like a personal meeting where we speak to the candidates, try to understand what ideas they have, how they want to make it happen, what time frame they have in mind, what are their own KPIs and targets. And then we try to evaluate whether it fits the criteria that we've designed for the fund. But it's not very detailed. It's not like a proper business proposition where an institution expects it to make a profit and to repay. This is not what we have in mind, by no means.
Great. I think we have time for one last question. And if we don't have one, yeah.
Good morning, my name is Irina Ivanova. I participate in the Промяната program, but we were not able to rank for the next ranking. My question is connected to financial sustainability, because this is a huge problem for all social entrepreneurs. Do you have a recipe in terms of advice, methodology, opinion? Would you support a project which does not possess sufficient financial sustainability? The representative of ING Bank raised this issue about financial sustainability. So what would you recommend in terms of methods?
Our approach is not orthodox. We understand that sometimes it will never be possible for a business to be fully sustainable, but we take a pragmatic approach. We at least expect the initiatives to partially rely on donations and to build a model where they have some way of raising funds and getting income. Maybe it's not 100%, maybe it's 80% or 60%, but to demonstrate that the initiatives has a way to at least partially become independent. Yeah. Still, we are not supposed to support that for a very long period of time. So at some point, we expect the entrepreneurs to look for alternative sources of support, yeah? So that they do not assume that ING will, through its Social Innovation Fund, support them for like 10 years. That's not what we have in mind, because if we did it, we would be confronted with the situation that the first initiatives we start supporting, these are the last ones, yeah, because we have to use all our resources on them, whereas we have, in the waiting room, we have other candidates whom we want to help.
Irina, Ivan, do you have some final reflections on financial sustainability?
Може би само да допълня.
I will only add that yes, to a great extent, such a partnership and initiatives, in fact, they develop over time. They develop dynamically. For me, what is important is to understand that businesses can help, especially in the startup stage. The startup stage may be short or not that short, but there is always a point in time where this initiative is more or less public, more independent, and then to get the support of the businesses will need a clear vision of the logical development in the future. I can tell you about our approach to sustainable, to financial sustainability. We diversified the sources of funding. We wanted to see what first we could do as an organization through crowdfunding, then friends and peers that we had to find who share our ideas, then creation of partnerships with businesses. We already mentioned this is a long process because it means earning the trust of the others, and both sides are responsible for this. Then finding people who think along the same lines. And happily, we were able to create partnership with Reach for Change in the very beginning. I remember the day we met with Yuri, who said, apply, you must apply. And we said, well, how come? I mean, we have a national television, and with this cause, it will never work. But we understood that we have the same approach, like there is a problem, we have solution, these are our resources, that's how we can measure success. So there are many sources to achieve financial sustainability. Don't think only about a single source. Look, see what is being done, not only here, but throughout the world. And we must be the ones who should take the phone, call somebody, ask for a meeting, and so on.
Just to add also that by the nature of what we are doing, it's not just like you stop selling a product or something and then, okay. I mean, if it's social change and we're really looking to impact the children and young people that we do, then the financial sustainability piece is critical because you have people who are relying on you. So I think it's really important to look at from the start. But with that, I would like to just say a very big thank you to the panelists. I think it was really great perspectives, and what I will take away with me is more common language than maybe you would have expected. So thank you, and I hope you have a nice lunch. And
технически две неща искам.
Two announcements. First, that lunch is provided. It will be served both on this floor and downstairs in the restaurant, because the restaurants cannot accommodate all of us. But more importantly, stay for the afternoon sessions. There will be very interesting panels. We'll continue discussing the topic of partnerships with businesses. Victoria Blazhova from UniCredit was here in the morning. She's a very interesting person to meet. Then Monica Kovashka from SAP Labs will be here. We have interesting presenter from Croatia, and it will be very, very interesting. So join us for the afternoon sessions. I strongly encourage you to do that. Thank you.